One thing that's really important to understand too, before you even look at the options you have, is the vesting. This isn't the case with all employer plans, but with 401ks specifically, there is a vesting period. What that applies to is the employer match. So they'll have a schedule of how much of that employer match you have earned based on the number of years you've been there. Most employers, at most, you're going to look at 5 or 6 years before all of that match is yours to keep. But understand the way that works. All the money you put into it, that can move back out, or, one of these 4 options, you can work with it. But that employer match, you want to make sure you understand how much of that you get to keep in the case of leaving your employer. And you've basically got 4 options that you can take when you've left an employer and you've got that employer plan. First one is to cash it out. Now, I can't tell you, you can't do it legally, but I'm just going to tell you the taxes will hurt.
Yeah, you're going to be shocked, and not pleasantly shocked, about how much money goes to the IRS in that situation. So, if you're talking about a smaller amount of money, it may not cause you to go into the next tax bracket. But let's assume that you go into the highest tax bracket, because it's usually a pretty good sized pool of money when you're changing jobs. So you go into that higher tax bracket. So you've got that. You've got a 10% penalty if you're not 59.5 at this point, and you've also got state taxes. So between federal tax rate, your state taxes, and likely a 10% penalty because you're probably below 59.5 in this scenario, then you're close to 50% of the money going to state and federal taxes and penalties. And so yes, it is an option, but the other side that a lot of times we don't even touch base on is the power of compound interest that you are then missing. People look at it as, well, it's not like it's $100,000, it's only $20,000. Well, yeah, but how much is that $20,000 going to grow to if you just leave it alone between now and retirement? And it can easily be a 6-figure decision in the future that you're looking at $20,000 now, but it's really a 6-figure impact on your retirement.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize, and we do the math, so we know that something just being left alone can really grow over time. So that's the first one. You can certainly cash it out. The next one is you can leave it there. We call them orphaned, but it's not necessarily truly orphaned. If you have a platform where you can monitor it, that may be an option for you. In many cases, there's going to be a minimum amount that you have to do that. And also, managing it can sometimes be a challenge if it doesn't have a great platform, or if the investment options change on you and you get kind of pushed into a weird investment you didn't plan on. So you certainly can leave it behind. Third one is you can roll it over to the new employer if that's allowed. If your employer has a 401k, you can do a rollover from the old one to the new one and let it stay invested there. So the investments will have to shift probably if they have different investment types. But the last one is you can roll it over to an IRA. So, we've got to talk a little more about that because that's what we deal with the most, but it's not a taxable event. So you don't have to worry about taxes as long as it goes from pre-tax to pre-tax and Roth to Roth there. But then you have the freedom to invest it however you want. The big trade-off is that your employer, they're absorbing some of the expense of investing when you're in that 401k, whereas when you're inside of an IRA, the investment costs are going to be passed on to you in that setup.
Want more content like this delivered to your inbox weekly? Visit fastest4.com to learn more.